A very good morning to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Sports Check. It's the last Monday of August 2023, the 28th day. And it is one day after the close of the World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023. That was 9 days of exhilarating athletics action. Put you live on KBC Channel 1. 10 medals for the Kenyans. 3 gold, 3 silver, 4 bronze. We'll be getting into that conversation later, and also about road safety. The World Athletics Championships Budapest 2023 came to a close last night with the closing ceremony and the medal ceremony for the events that were in the evening session. It was a quick burst of an evening session. We had the women's high jump, we had the men's javelin throw, we had 3 events on the track. The 5,000 meters men, the women's 800 meters was also on that event. So those were the events that we were taking a look at: the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase and the 4x400 meter relays for men and women in that order. Kenya finishing 5th overall on the medal table at Budapest 2023. Kenya did win 3 gold, 3 silver and 4 bronze medals. The gold medalists, Faith Kipyegon in the 1,500 meters and the 5,000 meters. No woman had done that before. We've seen the men do it before. We've had Hisham El Gerouj, we've seen Bernard Lagat do it, but this hadn't been done before by a woman. Mary Moraa winning an 800 meter gold, and this is 6 years from when she was an under-18 athlete, graduating through the ranks to the seniors. Daniel Simiyu Ebenyo, 10,000 meters silver, and we had Emmanuel Wanyonya silver in the 800 meters, and also Beatrice Chepkoech, the world record holder in the women's steeplechase, taking a silver in the event behind Mutile Yavi, Kenyan-born Bahraini. Then we had the bronze medals: Jacob Krop in the 5,000 meters, Abraham Kibiwot in the steeplechase, Beatrice Chebet in the 5,000 meters, and Faith Cherotich in the 3,000 meters steeplechase. So the outcome of it, the review of it, and the dip, and looking at what the lessons have been picked up by Team Kenya. And in studio with us, somebody who's been with us for 3 of the nights throughout the World Athletics Championships. He's a senior member of the Athletics Kenya coaching staff, Stephen Mwaniki. Welcome.
Thank you, Wahome.
So let's get straight into this conversation and the story of Faith Kipyegon. Because when you take a look at, Faith Kipyegon, it's not her first global medal, we've got to admit, at the 1,500 meters, but it is a progression that we have seen with Faith Kipyegon. And just taking a look back at the medals that Faith Kipyegon has won in this event. For Faith Kipyegon in 2015, she won a silver in the 1,500 meters, finishing behind Genzebe Dibaba. Then she went on to win gold in 2017, a silver in 2019, a gold in 2022. And this year, in addition to the world record that she broke, we also got to see her win a 3rd world championship gold. Let's just get a feel of what it was as Faith won the first of her 2 gold medals.
Champion last year, World Under 20 champion. She's just 17 years old. Katie Snowden, UK champion. She defeated Laura Muir in that race. Sifan Hassan, such a great favourite. She is an interviewer's dream, is Hassan. She comes out with one-liners that are unique and so special. She's a delightful person. But is she tired after that 10,000? Corey McGee has done well. 3rd in US Championships. One of only 2 athletes in this race not to have broken 4 minutes. Laura Muir. Mixed form this season, it has to be said. Looks like she's come right at the right time with that 3:56 in her semi-final. Can she get onto the rostrum here after changing coach earlier on this summer? Nelly Chepchirchir, good 800 so far this year. Fastest in the heats on Saturday with 4 minutes, and then fastest in the semis. Ludovica Cavalli of Italy, one of the other athletes not to have broken 2 minutes in this. Personal best in her semi though, broken 4 minutes I should say, over 1,500. Melissa Courtney Bryant is there as well, 3rd in the UK Championships, the Commonwealth bronze medalist back in 2018. Back from a lot of injury problems, has done wonderfully well. Big strides this year with a personal best of 3:58 in Chortsov some 5 weeks ago. And Diriba Welcheji completes the lineup there on the outside. Great competitive record, as I said, Welcheji this year. How will it go then? No pacemakers here. 58 at the bell. The pace has picked up a bit the last 300. Now surely Kipyegon will build as they go into the back straight. Others beginning to lose ground. Laura Muir at the back has 300 to go as Hassan now comes into the frame. She's up into 5th. McGeehan going well. Melteji in the slipstream of Kipyegon as the world record holder takes the lead down the back straight and begins to extend that lead and moves away now. Melteji in 2nd. Here comes Hassan. McGeehan in 4th. Kipyegon is well clear though. Chamchirchir back in 5th place is out of this now. In Kipyegon with 5 metres, 6 metres, goes clear. Hassan running for a minor medal here. Wateji producing a wonderful run. She's run 3:55. It's going to be not far outside that here, but it's Kipyegon's gold as expected. Wateji the silver for Ethiopia, and Hassan the bronze, and a fighting 4th there. Brilliant running for Kira McGeehan. The winning time is quick. 3:54.87 after a very slow first 800 metres.
Faith Kipyegon with a fast over double gold medals that she won in Budapest 2023. And it is the one goal, you know, everyone had said, okay, we already know about this gold, what about the 5K? But let's talk about the 1,500 meters. Faith Kipyegon having to run that solo race and eventually winning this. And you can see her joy from, you know, having won that gold medal. And what about for Chep Koech, who's going to come up, and the lessons that she can learn as a young athlete, coach?
Yeah, it was a good exposure for her because running with a great athlete like Faith Kipyegon, she's running through the rope, and I think in a few years you'll be able to see her coming up and be able to take over from Kipyegon.
So, looking at the race execution and the caliber of athletes that we've got, you can see the Ethiopian field is very strong. Sifan Hassan has been a consistent 1,500 meter runner throughout, and she is the one of the 2 athletes who's beaten Faith Kipyegon to global gold, the other being Kenzebe Dibaba. How have you seen Faith's race execution grow when she won the silver in 2015, won the Olympic gold in 2016 and the world in 2017, took a maternity break, came back 2019 in Doha, took a silver, and like they say, the rest just keeps giving.
Yeah, she's a fine athlete. She knows when to strike, and you could see in these finals of the 1,500 meters, they all played into her hands. Everybody, she decided to control the pace, and she was able to know when to strike. And you could see the last 250 meters, that is when she started gunning for home. And that is not easy. You have to learn through the rope. You have to know how to manage the race. And she's a good manager. And that's how she was able to win this gold medal in the 1,500 meters.
And the one thing that we always say is, let something rub off. For example, a champion into others, such that there is some form of continuity that comes with this. Because for the last 8 calendar years, this event has belonged to her in the country. What's the right coaching method to get an effective 1,500 meter runner?
Yeah, as we have witnessed during the just concluded World Championship in Hungary, the coach must be able to build this athlete to have capacity to run a longer distance. For example, Faith during the season, the out season, she was able to run cross country, and you saw her in Sirikwa Classic running and creating a gap of almost 2 minutes, finishing the 10K. And also you have to be able to, the athlete must be able to run even 5,000 meters. You could see, if you put in comparison Ingrid Bristin and Faith Kipyegon, they've done the same thing, because Ingrid Bristin has won the 5,000, but he was able to get a silver in 1,500. The same thing applies. So it means if you're training a middle distance runner, especially the 1,500 meters, you should not ignore the cross-country circuit. It's very important for the build-up. And then now you can be able to come on the track and incorporate all these things and be able to get it right.
You know, it's very interesting you mentioned the 5,000 meters because coming into this year, Faith Kipyegon had only done 3 5,000 meter races. And she decided, let me just go for it. And she broke the world record. The next thing we know, she's here at the trials, and she did win it. And then 2 here in Budapest. How do you then get to balance this? So, because we've seen at the moment, Inge Brigtsen is doubling that. He's coming out as one strong athlete in that. And previously, we've seen Elge Rouge in that form and Bernard Lagat, who won medals for Kenya and the US different times.
Yeah. So because when you are going for a major championship like the World Championship, the most important thing is not even the time, it's just to win the medal. And so it depends with the team tactics, how you have planned your race. And the most important thing is to go through the qualifying rounds, and then by the time you're in the finals, now work out with you come up with a strategy of how to win the event, because each and every person who is in the finals has already prepared for this, and the best person, the person who has the capability of winning that event, is a person with the best plan for that event.
Now, just taking a look at it, and for the athletes who are there, the 1,500 meters for women, the entry standard is 4:02:50, and we just need 3 athletes. At the moment, looking at the qualification criteria, Faith has already met that, and all she needs to do is show up at the trials next year. But for Nelly Chepchirchir, those and the others who want to get into that fray, how much work do they have to do? Because and this is outside of the national team setup. We know that they will be focusing probably on closing the season now, but that 1,500 meter pedigree, do we see them running the 800s at some point, or do we just help them, for the speed, and also change their training thing outside of the road and the track?
Yeah, it is also important to be able to do the speed. For example, the 800 meters. Faith has run the 800 meters, and she has a sub 2 minutes in 800 meters. That is also important. You have to go through the ladder, the steps, to ensure that you are tuned up towards running 1,500 meters. You also have to do the 5,000 meters, which is very important. Once you be able to manage both the 5,000, 1,500, and also the 800, then you are ready to go. And it's very important to include all these components in your training. Make sure when we start the season in October for the cross-country, have good build-ups, do good cross-country running, and then when you come to the track, make sure that you get the speed endurance, the specific endurance of the event, and then you'll be ready to run the 1,500 meters.
There's another factor that I'm going to bring in for middle and long distance runners, because there's a conversation that has been going on, and this is mainly about strength and power. But first, also remember that the double that Faith Kipyegon had included the 5,000 meters. And let's take a look at the 5,000 meters, because this was what you'd call a pure championship pedigree race, because it wasn't the fastest of the 5,000s that we've seen at championship level coach, but what was that race execution, where we saw everyone huddle up. At one point, I think there were 8 who could have taken it at any one point. How was that race managed?
The race was tough because the likes of the Ethiopians and also Kadir was also in that event. And, these are very powerful, strong finishers. And as I had alluded earlier, the 5,000 meters nowadays is a sprint event. Athletes time it to the last 800 or 400 meters. And this is what Ingrid Brigtsen did, because initially, when they started the finals, he was running behind, conserving his energy for the final kicks. And actually, they didn't run one of the best times, 13:11, but the final kick was for those who had the kick. And that is why the last 1,200 meters, the pace started going up. You could see athletes pushing the pace. And
actually, Coach, what we have now is pictures from the women's 5,000 meters race. And we can see how Kenyans had set themselves up with Margaret Chelimo and Lilian Kasait, you know, playing around with, Lilian Kasait at times staying at the front, and the bronze medalist Beatrice Chebet also, you know, trying to stay with that lead pack. But 14 minutes, 53.88, just about 15 minutes, which is almost a minute slower than the current world record of 14.05. It started off as a slow race before it got to this level where it was the sprint finish, and let's just get a review of the sprint finish, and then Coach will come in.
This would be for Faith Kipyegon. She's got 180 to go. Chebet in third, Hassan in second. Chebet has to check her stride here. Kipyegon driving for the line, beginning to pull away, showing all her speed, but Hassan's not beaten. She's still trying to close. The world record holder, the Olympic champion, the world cross-country champion. They've all delivered a big race, but it's Kipyegon who has the final say. She's done the double that no one has achieved before. The time is completely irrelevant. Faith Kipyegon, the greatest 1,500-meter runner in history, has just shown us she can win a tactical 5,000 as well as set the world record. Hassan, the Olympic champion, takes the silver. Chebet, the bronze, the world cross-country champion, is on the podium again. But tonight belongs to Kipyegon. And his date with destiny is now surely a world record attempt. What a race that 5,000 was. Kipyegon had the crucial...
So there you've seen that win by Faith Kipyegon. And we also want to talk about somebody who's coming up strongly in the 5,000 and the 3,000 meters, Beatrice Chebet. And we've seen her win the under-20 World Cross Country Championships in Aarhus, Denmark. That was in 2019. Very dramatic circumstances. And earlier this year, she won the World Cross Country senior title in also dramatic circumstances. Coach, Faith, we've seen her race execution. For Beatrice Chebet, what is the growth that you've seen and the prospects that come, you know, for her at this?
If Faith was not in this race, I bet that it was Beatrice to win this event. But you see, they run differently because Faith has speed plus endurance. Chebet also has endurance and at least a speed to maintain him to run these 5,000 meters. His build-up towards this major championship, he was able to run the third fastest time in the world for 5,000 meters. And also, you look at his background, being a world cross-country champion, it means that his preparation was good. And we still believe he's the next champion in this event, the 5,000 meters.
So here comes now the one issue that we would like to bring in about getting that final setup. We can see that for Brit, it's a 4-year story. For Faith Kipyegon, it's the 8th calendar year, so to speak. How then do you keep raising the profile of somebody like Beatrice, such that, there is some form of internal competition, even within what you'd say the national team setup, like we see with the Americans and the sprints?
Yeah, Beatrice is, she knows very well that being in Kenya, you have to be at the top, because each and every time we have athletes coming up, good athletes coming from our system, because you see, we have the youth system whereby we bring in the young athletes coming into the fold, and nobody can, somebody like Beatrice cannot just relax and say that I'm a champion. She knows there's war each and every year and any competition in Kenya. So I know she will develop definitely, and coming the Olympics next year, you'll be able to see Beatrice doing wonders. But I want to congratulate them, because that teamwork between Beatrice and Faith Kipyegon enabled us to get the two medals.
Now, there are two, Lilian Kasait Rengeruk. We've seen her win the African Championships. We've seen her grow, get into injury, get into, an inadvertent ban through inadvertent doping. But what about for Lilian Kasait? What's her true events, if someone was to be asked?
For me, I think we are in good stead. She's in good stead because now the 5,000 meters, we have top athletes in 5,000 meters. You've seen Margaret Chelimo, Lilian also in that event. So in this event, we will even do better come major championship because we have top 4 athletes in this event. For Lilian Kasait, coming back after that 1-year ban is a good gesture for the whole country and also for her, because for her to come to that level and missing 1 year without competing, it shows that she has talent and the future is bright for her. So I think by next year we'll be able to see her in her full colors.
Now, talking about Margaret Chelimo, well, she has a Commonwealth Games silver from 2018, a silver in the 5,000 meters, and that was at the World Championships in Doha, Qatar in 2019, took a bronze in the 10,000 meters in Eugene last year, and we've seen her double in the half marathon, winning the Barcelona half marathon at the moment. And this is what I'd like to bring in now, the women's 10,000, because everyone's asking, post Helen Obiri, post Vivian Cheruiyot, who comes in?
The next candidate in that 5,000 meters, 10,000 meters, and we have more candidates. We are not discounting the ones who participated in that event. They are still good, but still we believe that when Margaret Chelimo and the likes of Beatrice and the likes of Lilian Lengoruk now moving from 5 to 10, the way we have seen Vivian Cheruiyot, the way we had seen Helen Obiri, then it means we are still safe in that event. We will have good athletes running the 10 and also the 5,000 meters.
Irene Kimais and Agnes Jebet Ngetich, where would you place them? Irene Kimais finishing in 4th place, albeit 4 seconds behind the Ethiopians. And also Agnes Jebet, 31-34.
Yeah, they are good athletes. They are very good in 10,000. Also, we had Nongo.
Grace Nwuma, Alice Aprot's sister.
Alice Aprot's sister. So we are safe from 1,500 to 10,000 meters, especially on the women event. We are still very safe.
Well, those were the 2 gold medals won by Faith Kipyegon, and also Mary Moraa did win the women's 800 meters. She won a bronze last year, Commonwealth Games champion, originally a 400-meter runner. And that was way back when she was at the Mogonga PG Secondary School. And as an under-18, caught the imagination of the country. For 6 years later, she is a champion at senior level. This is the women's 800 meters. And Coach Mwaniki, you will be giving us a breakdown of how Mary Moraa, handled this race, because she used tactics that are different from what we know her for. Let's listen.
Who's content to follow and let other athletes exert themselves.
On your marks.
Mary Mora's tactics last season could have been described as slightly haphazard, but they've been refined this season. They're a lot more reproducible. Her win over Keely Hodgkinson at the Lausanne Diamond League was a key example of that. All the 3 favourites, Athing Mo, Keely Hodgkinson, Mary Moraa, at the front of the field at the moment.
Into goal. This is going to be an epic last lap.
It's very swift through the first 400 metres, 56 dead. But look at all these women, they're right in it. Everybody is keen to get themselves on the podium. Athing Mo seems to be kicking off a 55-second first lap. That is phenomenal. Athing Mo trying to stretch away from Mary Moraa. Gemma Reekie has run a very canny race. She's barely stepped off the rail. They're all going to be tired right now. They're all going to be flooded with lactic. Mary Moraa has been very, very patient. She bides her time on the outside. Has Athing Mo got another gear here? 1:26.21 through 200 metres, but this is where it counts. Keely Hodgkinson started starting to drift towards these first two. Mwaniki pumping the arms on the inside. She'll be strong in the last 100 metres. But it's acting mode to the outside of lane one, as she did in Eugene last time round. Keely Hodgkinson looking for space on the inside. Mary Mora trying to get round the outside. Mora has gone. She's striding away here. Mary Mora is going to snatch the gold medal away from the last two gold and silver medalists from the two global championships. Phenomenal for Mary Mora. What a calm, patient race. She pulls out different tactics every time. 1:56.03 for Mary Mora. She's delivered a personal best on the biggest stage. Keely Hodgkinson has managed what she's not managed in the last two global finals. She defeated Athing Mo, but she leaves with the same medal, another silver for the Brit. And Athing Mo tried to run away from this field. She just couldn't do it.
There was the gap on the inside because Mo was not tight to the curb, but leaning back with a really distinctive style. Mora had incredible strength and skipped across the line in delight. Yet another silver for Hodgkinson. 3 global silvers, and she's still only 21. But we were talking over the last 2 seasons about this duel between the American and the Briton. It's no longer a duel, it's a triumvirate of excellence. And this year, it's Mora of Kenya who's had the final say.
Coach, before you even talk about, the race execution, when did somebody finish an 800-meter race by jumping?
Mary Mora, sometimes she's an entertainer, because normally when you look at the secondary school championships and also the school championship, the kids normally, when they finish, they jump. And this is what she was doing. She was just entertaining us. But I think if she kept on running, she would have even run 1:55. But now jumping, for you to take off, that takes time, and then go and land takes time. But Mora, she's an entertainer, I know her.
Okay, and for those of you who forgot about the year 2017, this was her call sign. That is what you do, and the crowd will just go wild, in that stadium. But overall, there was a different race execution last night. It was not Mora's style of running. It was something different. Just how did that change?
You see, I'm happy because Athletics Kenya felt it was right to take Sang, his coach, to go with her in Budapest. Sang was assigned to work with the middle distance runners, and that was to the advantage of Mary Mora. I talked to Sang before the finals, and I told him, I think at this time, the hour of reckoning, you need to look at the tactics, because we tried with Wanyonyi running in front, it didn't work. This time round, try another strategy. So I didn't tell him what to do, but he came up with a strategy, because we are used to seeing Mora running in front, a front runner. This time round, she was just there within a striking range. And when she decided to strike the last 80 meters, that's what happened, and she brought home the gold medal.
Now, here's the thing, and if you just take a look at where she's placed, she's running in lane 2. She was running in lane 2, for about 3/4 of the race. How much does that take away from you?
Yeah, it's costly because you are running more distance. The distance is not the same like somebody who is running in the inner lane. But all in all, in terms of safety, because when you are crowded, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And she was trying to avoid that kind of push and pull, whereby sometimes somebody triple your leg and then you fall. And that is why she took that risk of running running from lane 2. And it paid off.
Well, 3 gold medals. Wanaume wakuleta gold. So, let's start with one. Daniel Simiyu Ebenyo in the 10,000 meters. But he took that silver, but it was a big battle for him to get to that position. Last year, he was considered a culprit within the setup when they didn't hack the 5,000. But here he is in the 10,000. And initially everybody thought he's going to the 10, to the 5, but he insisted on the 10. What did you see from his performance?
His performance was good, considering that during the selection he didn't run the 10,000 meters. He ran the 5,000 meters. But when he went to the camp, he convinced the management that he would like to participate in 10,000 meters. So once the federation decided to enter him in the 10,000 meters, he knew he had to do something, at least to redeem his name, because already he had decided not to run 5, but to run 10,000 meters. And it paid off for him to get a credible position 2. That was exceptional, and we appreciate that the decision was made to allow him run the 10,000 meters, and that's how we got the silver medal. So I tend to think that if he works towards running the 10,000 meters, maybe we'll be able to bring back the lost glory. You know, the last time we won 10,000 meters was back in Mexico in an Olympic year. Mm-hmm. That was in 1968. So
at the World Championships 2001, Edmonton.
Edmonton, and I remember Charles Kamadi also getting us a gold medal in a World Championship. So we need to see somebody who is consistent, and I think if Ebenyo is guided properly, he's the one to challenge the big boys in this event. And we have to stop the Ugandans, because now they have dominated in these 10 and 5,000 meters.
Well, Joshua Cheptegei coming back from injury and displaying another tactical masterclass. But eventually, somehow, the 10,000 men, they were able to outstudy the Ethiopian, Selemon Berega taking bronze. How do we counter this whole factor around the Ugandans? Because it looked like they had a team strategy of some sort, and it somehow worked for them.
Yeah, the bottom line is that nowadays, if you look at this long event, the 5 and 10,000, the person who comes out the winner normally must develop his kick. I remember, I don't know whether it was KBC, you gave Kamadi an interview, and he said he had to travel to St. Maurice in Switzerland to go and train there and also develop his final kick. And you see, Charles Kamadi was able to beat
Haile Gebrselassie.
So as Kenyans, we need also now to work on that tactic, on how to develop our final kick. We are good at lapping. We can do all the lapping, even if it is 30 laps. You know, 10,000 meters is 25 laps. But the last 400 meters, we have to develop it. And Kamadi was saying that I know Limo and Kamadi are very good finishers. And we need to come in and allow them to talk to our coaches and see how we can be able to develop the final kick, because that is the tactics that we normally lose our long event.
That was the bronze that Kenya won in the men's 10,000 meters, and there was a silver in the men's 800 meters. Emmanuel Wanyonyi, last year, running from the back in Oregon, finishing 4th, with Emmanuel Korir taking the gold. This year he decided to stay at the front, but he lost out on the gold medal to Arop of Canada. How have we seen, Wanyonyi change all of these things? Because until Wycliffe Kinyamal, went to the Diamond League, Wanyonyi was the world leader over the distance.
Yeah, you could see in the 800 meters different tactics. And I want to congratulate Wanyonyi, because he decided to see whether the front running will enable him to win the 800 meters. If you remember Rudisha during the Olympics in 2012, he ran in front. He didn't want to know what is happening behind. And that is how he was able to break the world record and also win the 800 meters. So Wanyonyi, in one of his interviews, he said he had pep talk with Rudisha, who was also in Hungary. So in all the tactics, you have to risk. You have to take a risk. And you could see Arop from Canada also decided not to run in front, because he's normally a front runner. He decided to run from behind, and it paid off. So always is good that you try different tactics and be able to get to see how you can be able to to be in the medal bracket. That is very important.
Well, if Thomas Edison didn't try so many things, we probably wouldn't have had the light bulb until, there was also somebody else known as Latimer who came in with a carbon fiber filament, such that finally we got that light bulb. And in the 800 meters, we are seeing young athletes also coming up. Ngeno was there. We've got Emmanuel Korir, he's not had the best of seasons. You can imagine somebody like Emmanuel Korir saying a 146 is a season's best. How then do we blood this, young people? Because I also have to admit, the trials were brutal in the 800 meters, man.
Yeah, having Ngeno as one of the young people who are coming on board, it's good for Kenya because we've had now Wanyonyi has also joined the fray because he's coming from the youth and junior level, coming to the senior level. We have Ngeno who went up to the semi-finals, and also remember Ngeno was a national champion in 800 meters. For Emmanuel Korir, it was unfortunate because he had a very serious injury. Tendon, tendon is not very easy to get healed because according to the scientists, the blood supply going to the tendon is minimal. So, but it's good that he was able to get a personal best of 146. And we should not forget, because sometimes our memory forgets so easily. This guy has won the World Championship twice. He has won the Olympic champion and also the World Championship in Oregon. So we have to accept that it was due to injury that Emmanuel Korir could not be able to go up to the finals. But still we have, the signs are good. It means that if we continue this way, next year come the Olympics, we'll be able to do very well because we have very good, young, talented athletes in the 800 meters.
So let's talk about Jacob Krop, the men's 5,000 meters bronze medalist. And this is also another event where there are a lot of worries as far as the race is concerned. For a long time, it was after Eliud Kipchoge, it became the story of Thomas Longosiwa. And there was always the question is, who fills in the gap? Now it looks like there's an answer to this.
Yeah, Jacob Krop is one of the fastest Kenyans in 5,000 meters. He's one of those who have been able to run 12:40 something. And also, the tactics also played into his hands because the last 3 laps, you could see the pace was coming from 67 to 62. And Jacob is good at running fast. And they were able to dethrone the likes of the Ethiopia, Kuljecha, and his colleagues who were left behind. And for the last final kick, he was able to dethrone, he was in a crowd and able to fight his way out up to the bronze medal. But we still believe if this event was fast, we could at least be able to dethrone the 2 medal winners, that is Kadir and also Ingebrigtsen. Because for you to be able to run with Ingebrigtsen, you must make it fast. But if you make it slow,
you're done for.
You are done, yeah.
Well, so there you've had it, and so it is at this. Just one more event. Let me talk about the silver and the bronze in the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase, because I mentioned to you about strength and also power. And power coming in. Where did Mutile Yavi nip that moment that Kenyans wanted in getting back the gold in the women's 3,000 meters steeplechase? Because in Oregon, you would need, I think, the top 8, I think the top 9 or 10 to all be disqualified for Kenya to get a medal, if Oregon numbers are anything to go by. But this was redemption year.
Yavi, she's a Kenyan export to Bahrain. And it's okay that she was able to win that medal, though she's a Kenyan, but she was running for Bahrain. Yavi got it right because, if you look at last year, Yavi was not very good with going over the barriers. But this time around, she perfected her movement over the barrier. And also, she also ran with the Kenyans. The Kenyan style is to run in front. You don't have to wait. You don't have to invite anybody into your party. you have to run. And this is what Beatrice was able to do. And I must congratulate her, though she ended up with a silver medal, making it tough for the rest of the runners, enabled her to get that silver, and also Faith getting us a bronze medal. So Yavi trains in Kenya, trains at E10. He has a Kenyan coach, but that's it.
All right, so we'll be coming back to speak about the relays, and also we shall also be talking about strength and conditioning, especially for middle and long distance runners. But now, let us move over to the Kenya School of Government, where the Cabinet Secretary for the East Africa Community, Assault and Regional Development, Rebecca Miano, is addressing those senior officers at her ministry and also the state and government agencies under her ministry, where they're signing their performance contracts.
To join the league of those relegated to shallow waters where no much navigation is possible. Need I say more on this topic? I don't think so. Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear colleagues, His Excellency the President signed performance contracts with all cabinet secretaries at a ceremony held at State House on 1st August 2023. Today we are here to witness the cascading of relevant components of my performance contract to principal secretaries in our two state departments, the State Department of the East African Community and the State Department of Arid and Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development.
Well, we apologize for that technical hitch, but that is the Cabinet Secretary for the East African Community, Arid, Semi-Arid Lands and Regional Development, Rebecca Miano, who is speaking at the Kenya School of Government, and she is setting off the ministry's performance target with the signing of performance contracts, and that's a ceremony for the senior officers in our ministry and also the state and government agencies under her ministry that will set off the ministry's performance target monitoring cycle for the year 2023-2024. And that story is being covered by Fred Parsayo. So once we have that little technical hitch, taken care of, we shall be getting back there. We continue the conversation around athletics, and with Kenya having won 10 medals at the World Athletics Championships in Budapest, Hungary, 3 gold, 3 silver, and 4 bronze. Also, something we've got to talk about, the sprints, because we saw Ferdinand Omanyala, getting through easily in the round 1 of the men's 100 meters on Saturday night. But Sunday evening was a different ball game, and he simply said his body just couldn't react. Now, what's the best way for somebody like, Ferdinand Omanyala? We know the Diamond League, the money circuit, is a different ball game. It's one race, wait for a week. But here you've got 24 hours, and then there is the 3-hour turnaround. How do you manage that?
That is why I said those who went to Hungary, they were top athletes. And for Manyala, I think it was a bad day in office. Because if you look at those who won the event, it's only Lyles that has ever beaten Omanyala. The rest, Chibogo, I can't remember the last time he beat Omanyala. The rest of them, those who are in the top 3, Omanyala has always been beating them in all the Diamond Leagues. But we talk about changing the strategy and changing of how to approach the competition. The coach who was with him in Hungary, Coach Dan, will be able now to come up with another way of doing it, because maybe we need to reduce the number of competitions that he was able to attend. And also, I tend to think also as a sprints coach, he needs now to come into 200 meters. That's very important.
Now, there is some interesting that has come up, and especially if you don't finish in the top two in the semi-finals, or you're qualifying for the final. The Q room was introduced. Now, let's talk about how the human body works. You're there and you're tense. So basically, you've got a combination of lactic acid in your body and then adrenaline, a toxic that you wouldn't want to put in a cup and swallow at once. How has that changed, and how do you prepare an athlete mentally for such a situation?
Yeah, this is the first time they are using the Q room, whereby athletes, those who have not qualified, among the two best that were selected in each level, it was so traumatizing. You could see how the athletes were there. Even the 100-meter lady from America, you could see she was so tense in that room, the Q room.
All right. Now, time for us to wind up this conversation about athletics, because it was 9 days of big conversations. And one of the questions, we were with Coach Stephen Mwaniki, one of the senior coaching staff with Athletics Kenya. Coach, let's finish with this. Strength and conditioning. We know how it works with the sprinters. We always see them pumped up. We know the gym work and all of that. But how do you manage this? Because questions are being raised. How do you do strength and conditioning for middle distance, long distance, and marathoners? How do you work around this?
Yeah, it is important. It's a new concept. People are talking about science, and you've seen the long distance runners have embraced the strength part of training, and you've seen Eliud Kipchoge himself working on the gym. What they are doing there is not just to build the muscle, but to tone the muscle, so that when you are in competition, it's easier to protect the muscles, to give you strength when you are running, because you need each and every component in your training to support you when you are running. So strength is very important, and those people who are not using the weight training to build their strength, they are running late, because that is a new concept which is coming in, and the long and middle distance runners are also doing the strength work. We've been using the strength conditioning going up the hill. That is okay, but now the new concept is also going to the gym and tone your muscle. That's important.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Coach Stephen Mwaniki. He has told us that if you go to the gym and you build your muscles, you might end up in shape. Round is a shape. Tone your muscles properly. Then you will be in what they would say in athletic circle, uko shape kabisa. Kwenda kukimbia. Thank you very much. So for Team Kenya, the next one, World Road Racing Championships in Latvia, coming in October. There's African Games and also the Bahamas relays next year, and the Olympic Games. Well, we'll be taking a short break, and when we come back, let's talk about cycling and the safety of cyclists. So we've had Ben Hagotieno, who did 7,000 kilometers across 9 countries. He's coming up here together with another cycling enthusiast, Alcana Torrio. That's in a short while.